Welcome, everybody, once again to another episode of B&B Hockey Talk as we get into deeper into the playoffs here. I'm Aaron Bloxel with my co-host, Mr. Matt Balzer. Matt, welcome once again to the show, and we've got lots to talk about with a couple of sweeps. Started off with Columbus telling their fans they weren't allowed to bring brooms to the arena. Thought maybe they were going to, jinx their chances, but man, David has knocked out Goliath, the Tampa Bay Lightning, issuing an apology to their fans. What's going through the mind if you're a Tampa Bay Lightning fan or if you're part of that organization right now?
Yeah, it's just sort of like, what the heck happened? you basically steamroll everybody through the regular season. You have an historic regular season, like the best team in salary cap history. And then all of a sudden everything just falls apart. Columbus, give them credit, they had a heck of a series. Sergei Bobrovsky finally got over his playoff blues over the last few years. Stood on his head, and that game was a heck of a game. As like they were going back and forth. Columbus got off to that quick start, and then Tampa Bay came back and tied it, and then Bjorkstrand basically right after I think points scored. They scored on that delay penalty to take the lead towards the end of the second period.
Yeah,
and then they just held on for that win. But I think the stat that I saw is like Tampa Bay is only the fifth team in history to finish with the best regular season record and get swept in the opening round since the Boston Bruins in 1937-38. And the other four times were in the 20s. So that just shows how crazy this upset was by Columbus.
Well, I mean, Stamkos and Kucherov finally got on the scoreboard, and I think the big guns for Tampa just really disappeared. I don't know if it's just a matter of Columbus matching up well with Tampa, or they really found their game. But I know the crowd was really into it. Columbus fans should be proud of themselves. John Tortorella was saying he had the equivalent of 2 beers spilled on him during the game from fans throwing their drinks because they were so excited after goals and stuff. Hats off to the Columbus Blue Jackets. It's a massive upset, and it's kind of funny because, like I said before the playoffs started, Columbus was a team that I would not want to play, even if I was the first seed. And it just goes to show you, I don't think it's that Tampa is a bad team or Columbus just played well. I think any team that makes it into the NHL playoffs has a legitimate chance in today's salary cap era to win the Stanley Cup because of the parity.
And especially with the physical play that Columbus played with all series long. And Tortorella, he can trust basically all 12 of his forwards up front. And then you got the big two of Werenski and Seth Jones on back there. And they did this without Ryan Murray on the back end as well, as he's been out with an injury so far. So just crazy upset there. But yeah, I can't wait to see what whoever wins this Boston-Toronto series, how they match up with one of those two teams.
Before we talk about Boston and Toronto, let's talk about the other sweep. The Islanders beating Pittsburgh Penguins for the first time in the playoffs since 1993, and David Volek's overtime winner. I'll never forget that. It was Ray Ferraro was on that Islander team back in the day. They pulled off a massive upset back then against the Lemieux and Yager Pittsburgh Penguins. But Pittsburgh just didn't look right from the get-go. The Islanders, from the very drop of the puck, came out swarming in Game 1. Crowd was behind them Game 1 and 2. And they seemed to have an answer for everything Pittsburgh threw at them in Game 3 and 4. Whenever Pittsburgh would score, it seemed Eberle would score. Eberle had a heck of a first round so far. But this Islander team, I mean, did everybody underestimate them, or is Barry Trotz just the best coach in the NHL?
I know. Well, I think between him and the Isles goaltending coach Mitch Korn, they have just done a tremendous job. But I think they were the biggest question mark. I think going into the playoffs, because everybody's just like, they play great defensively, they have great goaltending, but will they get the goal scoring? And so far, so good. Eberle 4 goals in 4 straight games. I thought he was going to be one of those guys that could come up clutch these playoffs, and so far he's done that. Robin Lehner stopped 130 of 136 shots in the series for a .956 save percentage. Man, this guy is playing unfreaking believable. It's just crazy how he's been able to turn around his life off the ice and on the ice as well. So. And even when he got in that mix up with Hornquist, I was just like, I was Hornquist, man. If you seen Leonard mad and
his eyes went angry.
Oh, and I was like, I'm running away. I was like, I do not want to mess with that guy. And even in the handshakes, it's pretty funny seeing them talk to each other there in the handshakes after. But yeah, Leonard's done a great job. Brock Nelson had a great series. But I think you brought up last episode, the Matt Martin, Casey Cizikas, and Cal Clutterbuck did a tremendous job. Because I think last game I saw Clutterbuck was averaging over 18 minutes of ice time. I was like, what the heck?
They seemed to be out every time Crosby was on the ice, and they were just hitting them and hitting them and hitting them.
Well, but yeah, they've been playing tremendous hockey. But yeah, I want to see how far they go, because I'm just like, with how good defensively they've been playing. And as long as they can keep guys chipping in here and there, I don't know, they could keep upsetting a couple teams.
That forward line you mentioned, Martin, Cizikas, and Clutterbuck, really did a number on Dumoulin and Goodbranson. Injury-wise, those two were banged up for Pittsburgh. But the two that really stood out for me, especially in the two games in Pittsburgh, were Pelech and Pulak on defense. That defense pairing absolutely shut down Pittsburgh. They blocked a ton of shots, and I was impressed. I mean, this is the same D-core that was the worst in the NHL last year, and all of a sudden now, with the way they're being coached, is the best in the NHL. So it's I know it's more than just them. It was a collective team effort, but it's really interesting to watch those two, because they've really stepped up their game in the playoffs so far, and have become shutdown defensemen. And we know Pulak from his offensive, but those two guys really shut down, and they let Leddy lead the offense from the back end.
Yeah, just the one thing I'm hoping for is as the rest of the playoffs for the Islanders will be played in Brooklyn. I'm hoping the atmosphere that can be carried over from Nassau Coliseum back over into Brooklyn, because man, nothing's come close to those fans for the Islanders.
Well, I'm sure the fans will go there, and there's a lot of closet Ranger fans that are closet Islander fans that should be able as well. Let's talk about Capitals and Carolina Hurricane. They basically had an extra day off today. They play again tomorrow. Carolina comes back into this series with a big 5-0 win against the Capitals. But everybody's talking about the Ovechkin-Svechnikov fight.
Oh man, what a knockout! Like, holy crap! And Svechnikov was the one that challenged Ovi, and yeah, you don't want to mess with Ovechkin. It's like, I know he doesn't drop the gloves often. I think that was like his first fight since 2010. So it's like you just don't want to wake that bear. But I think I brought it up. Like, this was sort of like when the Canucks in the Western Conference Finals against the Sharks, where Patrick Marleau challenged Kevin Bieksa, and Bieksa went on to beat the crap out of him, and everybody made such a big deal that Bieksa was beating up one of the Sharks' big superstars. I'm just like, it's just the same situation. Like, if the guy says, "Hey, let's go," you got to know who your opponent is, if you have a good chance. But hey, that it ended up sparking the Hurricanes, as they walked over Washington that game. I think they outshot Washington like 46-18, and they outshot Washington 30-8 over the last two periods. I'm just like, if you're Washington, eight shots over 2 periods in the playoffs, that's not good.
Well, and I think the next game's gonna really see probably the best of both teams. I have a feeling Washington's going to come out storming, but I think Carolina's going to be strong again on home ice, and I really see them potentially tying this series up. So it's going to be interesting to see. Boston-Toronto, that game just finished tonight. Boston holding on, winning 6-4 because they got an empty net with two seconds left. Again, nice physical game. Toronto just didn't seem the same. Boston seemed to have so much more energy. That series is tied going back to Boston, and I think Boston, with the crowd behind them, is going to take Game 5. After that, it's anybody's guess. We know it's probably going to 7. We said it was probably going to 7.
Yeah.
What do you see in this series that you like, or what do you see that what stands out to you?
Well, the big guns woke up for Boston in tonight. Pastrnak with 2 goals in less than 2 minutes in the second period there for his first 2 goals of the series. Brad Marchand got a goal, and he set up for Pastrnak for both of his goals as well. And then Zdeno Chara with the game winner off a nice shot from the point there. It was just everything that Boston needed, and Rask, I thought, played really well. I think he faced over 40 something shots tonight. And then Toronto was just a little bit too little too late at the end. But I wasn't sure, like, after when Dermott scored, I was just like, the way the Leafs were playing, I was just like, man, this could be an overtime game. But luckily Boston was able to hang on. But yeah, those big guns for Boston, like Brad Marchand. I know I hate him. Everybody else hates him unless you're a Boston fan.
He hasn't licked anybody yet.
I know. Yeah, at least there's that. But yeah, that's just like the toughest thing as like a guy that, like, you hate Marchand, but he's a heck of a hockey player.
Man, that guy can play hockey.
Yeah, but yeah, it'll be interesting because I think I was expecting Boston to win, and it's going to work out that it's going to go to 7 games one way or the other. But at least Austin Matthews is starting to heat up. He had 3 goals in these past 2 games after having a really quiet playoffs last year. So that's good that he's starting to heat up. Now it's just I think it's up to Tavares to really step up and have that really big game, because I know he had like that sick pass between his feet to Janssen to set him up for a goal there. But Tavares really has to step up now for the Leafs, because Mitch Marner met those 2 blocks at the end of the third period of Game 3 to seal the win. I'm just like, that's a guy that's just like, I'll just add another $1 million to my contract next year right there, sort of thing. But that's just another thing in general, all these young guys and how much money these guys are going to be making going into the next offseason.
Well, that's just it. The Leafs have so many young guys that want to get paid. I think they're overpaying Nylander a lot right now. I mean, it's unfortunate, but I just don't see them having enough grit here to get past Boston. Jake Muzzin's done a great job on the back end. That was a great trade. I shouldn't say it's a great trade. It was a good pickup from LA. Whether it's a good trade or not will be yet to be seen, because they did give up a bit to get him. Let's head over to the Western Conference. Dallas is up 5-1 right now against Nashville. Looks like they're going to tie that series up at 2. I'm a little surprised. I didn't think Dallas would be hanging around this long, but Nashville's forwards just haven't really got going yet, have they?
Yeah. Well, one guy who isn't surprised, who went with the upset pick, that would be me. But even though I thought Nashville was still going to win this series, but yeah, the depth scoring.
We both picked the Islanders to win.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. So there's that. So, but yeah, it's just Dallas is, especially today, is getting the depth scoring, and their power play has been on fire tonight. But Pekka Rinne, when he was on his game in Game 3, holy crap! I think that save when it was 2-2. I think on Jamie Benn, where he came across to make that save, and then Nashville, Granlund ended up scoring the game winner. Bishop with a couple of bad goals in that game, but the thing is, I think that this is going to come down to goaltending, and I think we brought up earlier in a past episode between Bishop and Rinne, whoever's going to go. But yeah, that was a good point, bringing up the Preds forwards. Like Forsberg, he had that 1 goal, but like Arvidsson, I think he still has to get on the score sheet in the goal column at least. But yeah, they really need those guys to step up.
I know Ryan Johansson had 5 shots last I checked tonight, but just still isn't producing what they need him to. Let's go on to the next series, Vegas, San Jose. The only question I have for you is, do you know the Muffin Man?
Oh man, that trash talking between Reese and Kane. Oh my goodness, so good.
I'll give Evander Kane props. North Vancouver's own Evander Kane. Fought Chara late in the season. Then he fought Ryan Reeves in the playoffs. That guy's got some big cojones to stand in against some pretty big boys.
This series, I'm just like, it's been crazy on the ice. Well, especially Martin Jones. Yikes! I was just like, I'm surprised.
He's finding his game now.
Yeah, and I was actually surprised Jones got pulled after the first period. He only let in 2 goals on 7 shots, but once again, when the Sharks needed that save right off the bat, it's just like he let that quick one in. Both games in Vegas, because I think in Game 3 he let in the first goal 16 seconds into the first period, and then in the second period of that game, I think it was 20-something seconds into the second period he let in a goal. In the third period, it was 30-something seconds into the third period that Vegas scored again. So all those timely saves that you need, the Sharks aren't getting, though. The Sharks did announce that Jones will be starting Game 5. So hopefully he can sort of find his game. But Erik Karlsson, stat I saw, Vegas has scored 18 goals in this series. Karlsson has been on for 13 of them. He just hasn't looked himself for most of the series, but I know he's been dealing with injuries. But that Mark Stone, Paul Stastny, and Max Pacioretty line, holy crap. But just
28 points in 4 games. That line is – and that's the line that scores every single opening minute, it seems like, as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and then that Shea Theodore goal as well last night. Oh, just filthy. I think somewhere Drew Doughty is just on a couch with a beer in his hand, just kicking up, smiling. As it's like Burns. It's like he got the offense, but Doughty brought up in his comment, he's like, he's not the greatest defensively. It's like, I don't know why he's always up for the Norris or whatever, sort of like that, just because of his defensive play. But like, I know if you look at Burns' offensive numbers, nobody really comes close to him right now. But yeah, it is funny to see now that you start watching the Sharks. And then, but the other thing is that the Sharks aren't getting goaltending either. So,
but I mean, I don't think Burns and Karlsson have helped out Martin Jones well enough yet. But let's move on. Colorado, Calgary. Man, Nathan MacKinnon is awake. That big line's awake. Colorado just absolutely peppering Mike Smith with over 50 shots last game. They're still scoreless, I believe, tonight. Just double checking. Yeah, it's still it's getting late in the first period. It's scoreless there tonight. But man, Nathan MacKinnon is one heck of a player to watch. And brand new rookie Cale Makar makes his NHL debut and scores in his debut with mom and dad in the crowd.
Oh man, is that like Makar is like that's a heck of a pickup to get in the playoffs for Colorado, especially I think Samuel Girard, I think he missed last game, and I'm not sure if he's playing tonight or not. So that's a huge addition there. But yeah, Nathan MacKinnon, the guy's a man on a mission. Whenever he's on the ice, he is doing something with the puck. I think the 2 quick goals in the first period, and then now Rantanen and Landeskog, like all those guys are going full speed ahead. But like Calgary, like how can you give up 56 shots in a playoff game that didn't go to overtime? Like that is crazy. Because I thought Smith actually had a pretty good game once again, but like when the forwards, when the players in front of you aren't playing well defensively, you're not going to go far in the playoffs. And Grubauer had another great game as well in net for the Avalanche.
Yeah, you cannot fault Mike Smith for that loss. I thought he played great. Calgary just was absolutely holographic in front of them. I'm waiting for that top line for Calgary, too, to start getting going. Gaudreau, Monahan, and Lindholm, they've actually been somewhat invisible so far in this series. If Calgary's to move on, they're going to have to get something out of that line.
Yeah, because I really thought they had probably the best depth going into the playoffs out west at least. But so far it hasn't happened. But I think Monahan, I know he'd been dealing with an injury, I think late in the season, so I'm not sure if he's playing through something. I think even last year he got hurt towards the end of last season, but they didn't make the playoffs last year, so it wasn't as big of a deal then. But man, it's like they need those guys going, especially Gaudreau. When Gaudreau is on his game, he's sort of like the Nathan MacKinnon, where he's unstoppable sort of thing when he's on the top of his game.
Yeah, absolutely. Finally, the last playoff series, Winnipeg Jets, St. Louis Blues. Huge goal from Kyle Connor last night. If he doesn't get that, it's going 3-1 back to Winnipeg in favor of St. Louis. The series, though, now, of course, is tied 2-2. My prediction, St. Louis is going to win since neither team likes to win on home ice. in in this series. But what a series! It's been a really rough, bang 'em up series. And St. Louis is showing why people picked them to do well at the beginning of the season and go far this year with guys like Ryan O'Reilly. I mean, he's built for the playoffs. That guy is he's got to be right up there. He's starting to get up in my Patrice Bergeron likability area for centerman, where he wins face-offs. He's so good at both ends of the ice. What do you like about that? And is Winnipeg's top line going to continue their scoring?
Yeah. The cool thing I saw with Kyle Connor scoring that OT winner, that is actually the first overtime goal in Thrashers Jets franchise history, actually. So I thought that was a cool stat. Like, I know Atlanta was garbage, so but for Winnipeg, like, I know, especially last year, I guess they were just so good last year that they didn't really need to go to overtime for most of their games. But Scheifele's starting to heat up. Kyle Connor, Blake Wheeler, those guys have been playing great. I thought Connor Hellebuyck probably had his best game of the series last night, and Binnington actually had a really good bounce-back game after laying in 6 goals. This is the series that I think it'll be like Boston-Toronto, where we'll go 7 games. Just the way these two teams have been playing, but yeah, it's really good now that the Jets are starting to heat up, because it's like the way they ended ended the season going into the playoffs. They weren't playing great hockey, but now they're starting to figure things out, and now that with a couple of wins going back to Winnipeg, it's going to be huge tomorrow night.
I'm still worried about Winnipeg. Connor Hellebuyck, to me, just doesn't look the same like he did last year. He hasn't caught fire yet. Maybe, I mean, their team's finally, for the most part, healthy, or at least they're all playing. They might not be healthy yet, but they are starting to look better. But St. Louis, I think, still has that capability of potential upset on this series. We're going to talk about the Women's World Hockey Championship now, as we touched on it a bit last episode. But Finland really got robbed with beating the U.S. As if people don't know the story, they upset Canada in the semifinal, which is unheard of if you're Canadian. But they were almost a giant killer again, scoring in overtime, believing they had won the game. It was looked at for almost 10 minutes and then called back for goaltender interference. The game continued. U.S. ends up winning in a shootout against Finland. What were your thoughts on that game? And was Finland robbed legitimately as a goaltender? Were they robbed?
Yeah, like I thought so. It's like I know we're Canadian, so we're a little bit biased against the U.S. as well. But yeah, I thought it was a good goal. Like, I know, like the IIHF, they have that crease rule as well. But it's just like it was still cool, like with the way that the player came in, like barely was in the crease at all, and the way that the goalie bobbled the puck. Sorry, bobbled the puck there. It's just like I thought they were just both going for the puck, and then the goalie ended up getting called for tripping after the review anyway. So it's just like, well, if you're calling the penalty on the goalie, it's just like that should be a good goal, and they said it was a good goal on the ice. So. But yeah, it sucks, especially for women's hockey. It's like every year, it's either Canada or the U.S. winning, and it's always them in the final. So just Finland getting to the gold medal game was great for women's hockey. And if they would have won, especially on home ice too, Matt, it just would have been unbelievable. But for the review to take that long as well, it's just it just sucks to, like, the emotion wise, to go from one end to the super high to the super low. It just sucks, because I thought, and I had no problem with the play, but once we get down to the international hockey rules and stuff, they get really itty bitty with or nitty picky with all that.
I also thought it was a good goal, and yeah, I mean, with the IIHF, you never know what you're gonna get. They're kind of like a box of chocolates when it comes to the reffing. Which is unfortunate. I mean, you see it in the Olympics, you see it in the World Championships, both men's and women's. And this one, I think they got wrong. But the other thing, let's go back to the NHL now. The Los Angeles Kings have a new head coach.
Yeah, so they hired Todd McClellan as their head coach. I think the job interview sort of went like this. Is Ilya Kovalchuk a fourth line or healthy scratch player? And McClellan probably said no, and it's like, you're hired, sort of thing. But Rob Blake and McClellan have a relationship going back to when Blake played with the San Jose Sharks when McClellan was the head coach there. So
yeah,
makes sense. And McClellan's a great head coach as well. Like the success that he had with San Jose was great. The Oilers was a bit of a different story, but I think that's more on Peter Chiarelli, or partly on Peter Chiarelli.
And the rest of the upper management.
Yeah, and the rest there. Though I think as it went along, like the special teams were brutal for Edmonton as well. But hopefully with LA, they got some younger guys coming out, and they still got that veteran group with Kopitar, Brown, and Doughty. So they still got some pieces, and they're getting a little bit younger, but I still think it'll be a bit of a struggle for Los Angeles next year, but at least they got a few younger guys coming. Like that Grunstrom got called up towards the end of the season, and he produced. But they need some guys to have some bounce back seasons as well, like in Jeff Carter and Tyler Toffoli there as well. But yeah, I thought it was a good hire for the Kings.
Yeah, if I was Todd McClellan coaching Edmonton and I saw my GM trade Taylor Hall and Jordan Eberle for Larson and Gagne, I don't think I'd be too impressed either. But also the NHL now is each day they're announcing candidacies for trophy winners. And today they announced the three winners, the three finalists for the Selke Trophy. Who we got?
Yeah, so no surprise here from the Boston Bruins, Patrice Bergeron. You just mentioned him earlier from the St. Louis Blues. Ryan O'Reilly, and from the Vegas Golden Knights, Mark Stone, a rare winger nomination.
Very surprising
in the NHL. So, but I think if you look at the advanced stats and stuff, like I'm subscribed to the Athletic and stuff, so you can really see some breakdowns there and stuff. But when Mark Stone's on the ice, he makes a world of difference when he's on the ice compared to when he's not on it. So I don't know, maybe he has an outside shot of winning it, but it's just like whenever Bergeron gets nominated, it's sort of hard to not go with him. But Ryan O'Reilly in his first year with St. Louis had a heck of a year. I think he had close to 80 points. I think he just fell a little bit short there, but he had a heck of a season. And he's one of those centermen where he barely takes any penalties all year while averaging like over 20 minutes of ice time basically every season. So no problems with any of those nominations. But yeah, basically from today till the end of April, they'll be announcing all the nominees. I think tomorrow is the Lady Bean. Then the next day is the Masterton, followed by the Vezina is the first big one on Sunday. And then the next day is the Norris. And then the last 4 days of April or towards the end of April is the Ted Lindsay and the Jack Adams. And then for us as Canuck fans, the second last day will be the Calder Trophy nominees, and then followed by the Hart, which ends on the April 28th is the final day for all the nominees.
We will be back on air next Wednesday as we'll be off through the Easter long weekend. Happy Easter, everyone. And just the final word from Matt, but just a quick update. Dallas has won 5-1 against Nashville tonight. That series is 2-2, and Colorado and Calgary still scoreless towards the end of the first period. Matt.
Yeah. I just want to thank everybody that has liked and followed the page. It still is just for us. It's sort of unbelievable how everything blew up with the OV knockout video there. And for all of you that have found our page and follow us, thanks for helping support the page. And yeah, it's just huge for us personally. And and if every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, usually we have shows for going all over the NHL.
Yeah, and thanks for all the shares, everyone. And remember to leave your comment below. Talk to us about your favorite team, whether it's an NHL team, hey, let's talk KHL if that's what you want to talk. Yeah. But let us know where you're from and who your favorite team and players are. And feel free to share as much of our content as you'd like, as we appreciate that. You can like and subscribe to us on Facebook, B&B Hockey Talk, or as well on YouTube, where we post only the show. So the highlights are all on Facebook, and the show's on both YouTube and Facebook. So once again, we thank you. I'm Aaron. He's Matt. You guys have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you guys next week.